circles. I sort of read it briefly on the website. What do you think about crop circles? Do you think that like some are man-made, or is it
Yeah.
quite muddy, the waters within the community as to the stance on them?
Well, I've been following the crop circles since we hosted someone here in Brisbane in 1990. That was the first time I had actually seen photographs that someone had taken of the crop circles, and who actually became a good friend of mine. She was living in the UK at the time. And the early days, there was a genuine phenomenon, I feel. But as time went on and the formations became more elaborate, crop circle researchers started to say, oh, 80% of these are man-made. And I started to think that myself, But I was following the work of a woman called Nancy Talbot with the BLT research team over in the States. And they were finding anomalies in some of these formations, like small magnetic metal balls, very small, were being found in the formation. And yes, if it was a hoax, someone could sprinkle those through the formation. That's possible. But other crop circle researchers like Colin Andrews, who's very well known in that community, he is responsible for bringing many of those images to the public attention. He was taking photographs where the stalks of the plants were being bent. They weren't broken, they were just being bent at the nodes on the plant, and they were being as if they were being heat treated at immense heats, and the nodes were popping open. So they were being bent over, sometimes at a 90-degree angle. So there were certain things about crop circles that I think that some of them were very genuine, but what they were, I don't know. It's very hard it's one thing to sort of lay down crops. I've done it myself in very long wild grass just to see how I could make one.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to have to create these tangential effects where the bending of the plant, rises, is on an angle, and it rises through the crop itself. That's really hard to hoax.
Okay, like you need a large object to sort of just rest on it, as opposed to like a sheath that would clear the patch.
No, what I mean is when the crops are made, they're made. You can see them because the crop is bent over, but there are some formations that have this really unusual thing about them where the bending of the stalk of the plant goes on a rise incrementally with each plant. So you get this sort of rising up of the pattern within the crop with each particular plant. So that's what I mean by that tangential effect. You just can't do it. It's very hard to do. It's like getting a fist and pushing it down into the crop, and some of them the crop will be flat down here, but as you go up around your fist, some of them will stand up and further and further, and some will be straight. So it's really hard to create that. So that's, for me, the jury's still out on some of them.
Yeah. That's understandable. And I don't know awfully a lot about crop circles, but in some cases when there's been other things like radioactive levels reported near some, I don't think someone would be sprinkling like plutonium or uranium to add to it. They could, but I don't think that wouldn't be very safe for if they had access to that. Yeah, it doesn't seem.
And it's also like some of those crops where the crystalline structure of the plant was changed too, so you can't negate that either.
As in, like the crystalline structure, like the cells within the plant. Oh, okay. Like they were changed. I don't know, by like, do they know what usually changes a crystalline structure?
Look, I couldn't tell you. That's been a long time since I've looked at crop circles in that way. But I certainly would encourage people to go look at the work of Colin Andrews on his website. I
Okay,
think
yeah,
it's just,
I'll write that down too.
but just look up Colin Andrews crop circles, and all that information will be there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I guess like the history of to be expected of crop circles would, in the beginning, like UFO phenomena, like there may have been some genuine unexplained observations, but like in the first instance of the crop circle, like people just started to fake them for, I don't know, publicity and certain things. But I'd like to just understand, how did you come to get started with the group that you're in now?
Right. Well, to finish off that story before, when
Yeah.